Ranger X is the kind of Sega Genesis game that gets flattened into the phrase hidden gem, and that is exactly why it needs a better video. The real hook is a flying bike, a transforming walker, and a control scheme that looks strange, until the level design starts asking exam questions. This is an OmegaVG breakdown of what the game is doing mechanically, why it was easy to miss, and why the subject still has search room now. The control problem. Ranger X is one of those Genesis games people praise and then quietly admit they never fully controlled. That is not a small detail. It is the whole subject.
Come with me if you want to live.
The game gives you a mech, a flight arc, a companion bike, directional firing, and energy management, then asks you to juggle them before the first impression has settled. That is why a normal review misses the interesting part. Ranger X is not trying to be immediately transparent. It is trying to make movement itself the puzzle. When the controls click, the game stops being awkward and starts feeling like a machine with two steering wheels. B.I.K. sunk brain.
Back!
The bike is not a bonus vehicle. It is a mobile battery, a platform, a weapon, and sometimes a lifeline when the stage becomes too hostile. Because it can move separately from the mech, the player is constantly deciding whether to stay compact or split attention across the screen. That kind of multitasking is risky on a 3-button pad, but it is also what gives Ranger X its identity. The control scheme is dense because the verbs are dense. The game is asking you to coordinate, not simply react. Why aim feels OD. Aiming at Ranger X can feel like arguing with the pad until you realize the game wants commitment. You are often choosing between movement safety and firing precision. The hesitation is not always bad design. Sometimes it is the cost of holding a line. That cost makes enemies more interesting than their patterns suggest. A turret is dangerous because turning to shoot it may ruin your escape route.
I am your father.
The best stages exploit that tension until the player begins planning angles before the fight starts. Levels. Yes, tests. The early desert and fortress spaces teach one idea at a time: vertical lift, bike recovery, shielded targets, and terrain that punishes lazy hovering. Later rooms combine them until the control scheme becomes a checklist under pressure. Where is the bike? Where is the safe angle? How much energy is left?
I'll be back.
That is why Ranger X is unusually good at making small spaces feel technical. The challenge is not always enemy count, but how many systems the room makes you operate at once. It is closer to a vehicle puzzle game than a standard run-and-gun. The Genesis Showcase. Ranger X also looks like a hardware flex. Big sprites, parallax, harsh lighting, and mechanical animation give the game an expensive angular personality.
It's a trap!
The presentation helps sell the control density because the machine looks like it should be complicated. That matters for retention today. Viewers can see the gimmick immediately, then stay for the explanation of why the gimmick is not random. The game has the rare combination of thumbnail curiosity and real mechanical substance. Why Blair's boat shirt off.
This is where the fun begins.
The same systems that make Ranger X interesting also make it easy to abandon. If you expect Contra, the game feels like it is withholding basic comfort. The mistake is treating comfort as the goal. Ranger X is about learning the cockpit, then using that mastery to solve combat geometry. That does not make every rough edge brilliant. It means the rough edges need to be separated from the intentional load. A good explainer can do that better than another hidden gem list.
Hello?
Moderns comparisons. Modern indie action games often sell expressive movement, but Ranger X got there through a hardware era of friction. It does not have twin sticks, remappable wheels, or a tutorialized skill tree. It has a strange pad layout and enough level pressure to make that layout meaningful. That is why it feels like a lost design branch. It asked for mechanical literacy before that phrase became common.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
The channel can turn that into a strong niche. The old game was not clumsy. It was asking a different question. The tuck away. Ranger X deserves a long-form video because its biggest barrier is also its best idea. Once the controls are understood as a puzzle interface, the entire game opens up. Bike, body, weapon, angle, battery, route. That is a better story than underrated Genesis game. It is a case study in how unfamiliar controls can create a vocabulary no smoother sequel ever replaced. For OmegaVG, that is exactly the kind of overlooked mechanics story worth owning. So the pitch is not just that Ranger X is worth remembering. The pitch is that its design gives us a specific language for talking about old games in a way most quick retro videos skip. That is where OmegaVG can win. Pick the subject with a real mechanics gap, explain it clearly, and make the footage prove every sentence.